Hey guys, and welcome to the Lunge and Lift podcast. Today we are discussing all about why you're even training. But first of all, I thought it'd be really good to touch base with you, Ash. Haven't really spoken in a little bit, so it'd be interesting to kind of see how you're doing. So, how are you, mate?
Good, thanks, buddy. Yeah, weirdly enjoying lockdown. It's quite a nice, peaceful life, isn't it? Just nice little routine. Weather's been great, so sort of just cracking on my own schedule, and yeah, I think I might miss it once normal life resumes, to be honest.
how have you found, like business-wise, like PT? Have you managed to take a lot more online, like Zoom clients and stuff like that? Have you found that work for you?
So I'm actually doing more programming. So luckily, a few people have just reached out. I think people want a bit more guidance because obviously their whole setup has changed and they might have limited kit, so they're trying to figure out the best way to get their training stimulus at home. So doing a lot more programming and yeah, sort of working on a few longer term things, have a bit more time for education and stuff. So just sort of enjoying the chill. Obviously the total work I'm doing is taking a bit of a hit, but hopefully we get out of this relatively soon and get back to normal. Yeah, but yeah, it feels a bit like a holiday. I think that's the funny thing about it, isn't it? It's just like
it really does. It really does. Especially with the weather the way it is. Like the weather it's been people getting right. The tan I've got at the moment is ridiculous. Only on my back. Like my back is just tanned right out my front. I need to just lie around and do nothing for a bit. I think just trying to even it out. But I just don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon.
The labourer's tan.
Yeah.
How are you? Bit of DIY going on, I see. Decking's coming along.
Yeah, decking's coming along. So obviously since lockdown, I've not had a day of being bored. I've been pretty much grafting. We moved into our house just over a year ago, so it was always a project house. And I'm now currently sitting in what I now call my office, or so I have my tools to my right, and I have some spare wood behind me and stuff like that. But but it's really nice. It's been just grafting away. But what I did find was over this period is with like the PT side of things. I've been doing a few more like the Zoom PT, which has been pretty good. I've still been keeping up with my online programming, which has been pretty good. But I'm definitely trying to think about how am I going to come out of this and what's my life going to look like. I know we touched on this before, but it's just, I think it's going to be really interesting. And, you kind of want to make sure you've got the ground, hit the ground rolling, like running. So you're getting into it. And that's kind of where this kind of leads nicely into today's topic because over the last, say 4 to 5 weeks, or this is the 5th week now, I've been putting online all my sessions on Instagram. So giving people 4 weeks worth of like programming with just dumbbells and kettlebells, just to give people an idea of just some direction so they can follow something. And but what I found with that is where I was doing that and all my laborious tasks and stuff around the house, I was average burning calories probably about like 14 to 1600 calories. So I definitely was not being like sedentary. But what I was doing to counter that was having a lot of drink, like boozing quite often, eating a lot of food, and just my sleep was good. Obviously, I was still getting relative sleep, but I think the quality of sleep wasn't that good. And so what I decided to do, I took a step back from that, putting all my sessions up on Instagram, and had a little bit of a think about why I'm actually doing what I'm doing, and because it was good. Obviously, I thought I'd done my part now for, say, the community, and I provided 4 weeks worth of program which people could cycle if they wanted to, and which was what I was doing. But now this kind of gives me the direction of, cool, what do I want to do from here? And that kind of led to me creating a little 28-day challenge for myself with, both listen to plenty of podcasts and stuff, and like brain optimization, health optimization, all that type of stuff, and then they talk about things like cold showers, gratitude, daily steps, and all that stuff. And what that kind of done, I listed them all out and gave myself essentially like a bunch of targets to try and hit daily. And so far, I've been hitting most of them. Every morning, Instagram live, cold shower, but more the accountability side of things, because it's having that Instagram live is just for me making sure I don't bail on it, even though I wouldn't, because I put it. It's it's not for anyone else. That is purely for me. But the fact that I'm having to go live anyway, it's already quite awkward as it is. And then to be in my shower, even more awkward. And then going from there. So, but for me, it's been good fun. And it's been a real good accountability thing because it's just given me a little bit of direction towards my why. And that's me trying to essentially change the narrative of myself and kind of where I'm currently someone that likes to say work towards a goal and give myself some direction, but I need to redefine my why and my foundations of what I'm doing. So, and I know you often talk about the 3-man categories. What were they? It was health,
performance, and aesthetics.
Yeah. Nice, and that was it. And so it's like, so when you're training for that, what do you go into when you're talking about those 3 main categories? Like what kind of training is this?
Yeah, so I guess the time I typically do that is at the start of working with somebody or whenever we're reflecting on what they're looking for out of their training, but it applies to nutrition equally as well. And if we think about why somebody comes to the gym in the first place, why are they training? Usually it'll be some balance or one of the 3 areas. And we're going to go into it in a later podcast, but what do you actually want out of your training? So how can we define your success criteria if we work together for however many months? Where do you want to end up? And usually it'll be one of those 3 things is the main thing they want to focus on. So they want to be healthier. What does that actually look like? Does that mean you're just picking up your kid without back pain? Does it mean bringing down your blood markers so you're actually going to live a little bit longer, hopefully? Is it a performance goal? You want to compete in a certain sport, or you want to achieve certain movements that you can't currently do? Or is it aesthetic? You want to look at how you do, because depending on which one of those 3 things it is, we'll approach it differently. And just to rewind a little bit, let's let listeners in on what are the things that you want to do on a daily basis, and why have you chosen those things? Because I think that will be quite a nice little reflection on this. So I think cold showers is number 1.
Yeah, cold showers. I had no phone after 8 p.m. and before 9 a.m. because, again, it's especially in times like this where, there may be some more downtime. You do find yourself just automatically gravitating towards your phone. Even when you're standing in the queue and your hand goes in your pocket and you fight that because it's like you're trying to be productive on time, but at the same time you're like, am I really being productive? So that was my one, just to really make sure I'm a little bit more present, because I'm finding that when I'm saying they're not working, I might be getting my phone out, so it's just trying to be a bit more in the moment, which is so important, especially with Chloe and stuff, and with Hannah, obviously, making sure that I'm there. Fasting. So I've done fasting before, and just doing 16 hour fast, 8 hour feeding. So normally I'll start eating, say, about 10, 11 o'clock. But I've been a little bit more looser on this approach, to the point of, if I'm really hungry and I choose to eat in the morning, I'm going to eat. I'm not going to go and force myself to fast, because I'm not doing this I'm trying to, as I mentioned at the start, change the narrative of person. Now, I want to become happy with sometimes being at 80% rather than always trying to do something 100% or 0%. And that's where I'm known as like all or nothing. Is like that's me. I go all in, and then I normally burn out. So with that, I have to then make sure I'm happy to sometimes be performing a little bit suboptimal, but knowing that I'm still progressing towards something, and that's huge. And so for me, this is the different approach that I've kind of gone with this fasting, and it's been good because I used to love it. I used to love like not eating in the morning and stuff like that. I just feel good. Have my coffee with MCT in the morning and just get myself going, and it's been good. But today, for instance, I had some breakfast before this because I was like, I didn't want to be thinking about food when I'm trying to think about discussions. Do you know what I mean? So it was, I had that. I also have 28 days sober, so no more drinking for at least 28 days. I've got sleep for at least 8 hours, but that's very much that can change based on Chloe. Like for instance, yesterday I had a lie until about 7:30. Today Chloe woke me up. I think it was at 5:55 or 6 o'clock. So very different. So I can't base it on that. But I did get to bed early yesterday, which was good. So I still got in my 8 hours. I've also tried to cut down on social media as well. Like reduce the amount of just being on Insta, being on Facebook, and using it as the tool that it is, rather than doing it to just mindlessly browse, because that's where you can lose time. And again, that kind of links in with the no phone after, just trying to be more present. And my daily gratitude, I think that's key. That's been massively helping me identify my why as well. I've been doing that before, but I've not been as consistent. And so recently I've been doing it, this week I've been making sure I've been doing it on every day. And then that's also helped me start to think about ways that I can identify as like things that I'm grateful for, things that things that I want to work on, things that were good in the day. And that's such a nice way to then kind of close off your day and also start your day, especially with the cold showers. I found with the cold showers, have you ever done cold showers before?
Yeah.
So yeah, what I find is just you do it and it's that you cannot think of anything else but the breathing. And it's great. It really is. You just, deep breaths. And this is where, I want to start diving into a little bit more towards breathing and stuff like that. There's that app, the Ready State, I think it is, or something like that. It's the breathing guy, Brian McKenzie. Basically, he's got an app, and so basically a lot about like box breathing and stuff, like all different styles of breathing and how important it is. And it's crazy how doing the cold shower, how good you feel afterwards. And that obviously that stems from like the shock, from like the cold to then the warm, but also from the deep breathing, how that completely changed your state of mind. So like on Tuesday, Chloe woke me up really early, and I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, and I said on the Insta Live, I was like, not really feeling it today, But anyway, straight after that shower, I just felt amazing, and it was just because the endorphins, you just felt good. So it completely changed how I felt that day. And just some other bits, like there was a bit of meditation, making sure I got my daily steps up, and trying to read a chapter of a book a day. The chapter of a book a day has been going okay. I've missed yesterday, so not doing too great there. But again, being happy with trying to get it as much as I can. And at the end of this week, I'm going to do a bit of a review on kind of how this week has gone, kind of what I struggled to keep up with, why did I struggle with it, and kind of what can I improve for next week. So rather than just seeing it as I need to do this for 28 days and do everything, it's cool. Okay, this is now how I'm trying to change, as I say, again, change the narrative of me, what's going on in my head, and being happy with I am progressing. This is piece by piece, not trying to do everything. And that's where, I think your why kind of comes in so strong, especially beyond training, because you need to always link it. Like having a goal is so important because it kind of gives you the direction. I know we touched on this the other day when we were chatting, and it's like knowing, say, health, performance, and aesthetics gives you, if you imagine that's the tree. So that's like you're going up and you've got your tree trunk comes up. That's like training. So then you have your training, performance, and aesthetics there. Your big branches coming out of there. And then you've got the twigs coming out of there. And that's going to be more your why beyond that. So you've got if we go down the aesthetics route, so we're going to come up from training, we then go down to aesthetics, and then we're going to come off of aesthetics and say we're going to have a bodybuilding show in, say, 16 weeks. So that's kind of my goal, and that's given me a real good direction. But unless I know the why behind the tree trunk and why that's there in the first place, it's that tree is going to constantly be moving around. This is a really weird analogy, but I'm going with it.
Yeah.
But this tree will never be rooted, if you know what I mean. So without the roots, it means, that bodybuilding show, you might get there. You're going to, like when I did my trophy is actually just there, second place trophy right there. Yeah. But having that, so I achieved that goal and really happy with it, but I never rooted my why. And that was the thing, because I then didn't have the reason behind what I was doing. I just enjoyed training. But enjoying training is one thing, but kind of understanding why you enjoy training is another. And over the years, I've gone from all the different, say, modalities and stuff like that. And I've kind of always gravitated back towards, say, strength training. But it's definitely the understanding of try to find your foundations, if you know what I mean. And that's where what I'm trying to do with this, say like 28-day challenge, is to kind of give me some good habits. So when we say come out of lockdown, ideally whenever that is, the ball's rolling. So I saw a really good quote: "Body in motion stays in motion," and I just think it's true. And that's where I want to make sure with like the three main categories of health, performance, and aesthetics, to understand which one I'm working towards and why am I working towards that.
Yeah, but it sounds like a lot of those daily tasks are very health related. Sounds like all the sleep, steps, fasting, cold showers. You're looking to sort of feel good. Is that fair?
Yeah, because it's very good, because using, like, I know we both like our gadgets and stuff, and like with the Whoop, is like I used to base so much off that. I used to get fixated on the number, what my recovery was and so forth, and then I stopped wearing it because I got annoyed with it, and then I kind of used it again because I realized it was me not using the data correctly. And so I've been wearing it for a good while now, and my recovery is never consistent, and obviously when it comes to boozing, eating a lot, and stuff like that, my sleep's not going to be. I might get 8 hours, but is that going to be good sleep? And so it's like building all of that has made me realize that what can I do if I optimize my like longevity side of things and my well-being? Does that correlate onto my Whoop and give me good consistency? Now, yesterday I had a real nice trend. It was going up. I was up to 89% yesterday on recovery. Today, 48. I was like, you fucking what? So I was like, I got a good night's sleep. I'm admittedly a bit early, but what I like with that though is understanding. Was it because I trained a little bit later? Because I did some nasal breathing. So I did 30-minute ski, but all nasal breathing. And that was quite stressful on the body. So obviously that it finished about 5:15. So was that a bit too late in the day? I had some carbs before bed. So was it because of that? Like, so it's like, what was it that's what I want to get from this challenge. But, like, I guess, but all that kind of, when you're talking about like this week with my training, is I've done 30 minutes on the bike the other day, 30 minutes ski yesterday, all kind of nasal breathing, but that kind of goes towards what do you want out of the training? And I think at the moment I'm just doing nothing to do with weights this week. I just didn't want to. I'm still laboring in the garden. I'm moving a lot of shit and building stuff. I just didn't feel I needed any extra stimulus like that. And I think what do you want from like your training and measuring it is, this week's measurable target was to just not stress the body too much, which I kind of didn't do after yesterday.
Well, like before that, you were on a good run, so it sounds like you are. Yeah. Recovering well, and yeah. How do you feel? Like, do you feel like some people do that where they just write down a number of how they're feeling out of 10 every day to track whether their energy levels and sort of mood are trending upwards?
It's funny because I woke up this morning and I said to Hannah, I am not as good as yesterday. I just knew straight away. It's like, when you just woken up, you should never take a score as soon as you wake up, because you're waking up out of sleep and stuff like that or whatever. I just knew I wasn't as good as yesterday, and I didn't look at the score. I kind of got the morning started, and then I looked at it and I was just like, it didn't affect me. But I was just I was more like, I wonder why. But as long as I now keep consistent in what I'm doing, I can then watch what the trend does. And again, this all kind of links in with me. As long as I work, I know what my why is at the moment. It's kind of working on my health and trying to think when, at those three pillars, looking at my health. I'm just trying to feel better, because I just feel it's not just, since becoming a dad in general, it's like definitely my recovery was the main thing that's kind of always been struggling. And that's also because I'm getting on a bit now, being 31. So, chipping away on those. Yeah, I know. So chipping away on those years. So, but how do you train? Like, what's your why?
Yeah. So for me, I think training is one of my favorite things to do, just for enjoyment. Like, it's very satisfying. I like the feeling after you trained. I like the feeling of progression, so working towards something over a long period of time and sort of chipping away at it. And I think for me, I like random arbitrary goals like the single arm pull up. It's something that I think I heard that Johnny Wilkinson could do one when I was a kid. He could do maybe a few, and I was like, that's awesome. I think that's quite an accolade, and it's a big achievement. And once you've tried it and you realise how difficult it is, it's almost like running a marathon or something. It's just something in the distance to build towards, and it's also a bit of a problem to solve as well. So it tests my understanding of training principles, and obviously requires a lot of hard work, but also going about it intelligently. So it's been a nice project to learn as well as do, and going into the gym and sort of feeling like a certain element of it is getting better, and then trying, like, I've had a few sessions with Jowsey from Red Pill to sort of look at my mechanics and see what other things might be holding me back. So control of the lower body is something I think was underappreciated, because you're just hanging from one arm. There's so much flailing that actually control is really important. So that's sort of like a performance goal, but has learning and education undertones as well. The other thing I'm working towards is a sub 20-minute 5K run, and that's basically because I've never really run in my life until probably the last year or less, and we were going through like running mechanics and running programming and training in the Red Pill team, and I was like, I need to just do more of this so I actually understand it better and can feel what's going on, and got myself a Garmin and basically started actually enjoying it and being outside, and it's a nice change of scenery to do exercise out of the gym more. And that one's more for enjoyment, but also I just think it's like nice to have a performance focus, because then it gives context to why you do your sessions. And I think for me, I am just a bit addicted to that sensation of moving towards something rather than just like going through the motions aimlessly. I like to feel that there's a bit of a reason behind why, and I think I will derive quite a lot of satisfaction from doing, like, I think a sub 20-minute 5K is like an impressive thing to be able to do.
Very impressive, yeah.
And if I, as somebody who's never really run and has always sort of dodged cardio, can get myself there, that'll give me a lot of satisfaction, and again sort of test my understanding of programming and how to take down.
So are you following a set program to get that, or?
Yeah, I am. So like through all the stuff I learned with Red Pill, I've got a few different sessions, and obviously looking at my mechanics, and quarantine lockdown's been quite a nice opportunity because there's not many other things you can do, and like I say, the weather's been great, so getting out and doing a bit of speed work, some longer, slower stuff, and obviously loads of lunges. I'm enjoying it.
I guess that really that keeps you nicely. That's, I think, the difference, say, between you and me. I think where you have those nice, like, definitive goals that you work towards, you don't get distracted so easily by external influences, and where it's like, even though I know I have, say, a relative direction most of the time to behind why I do what I do, is like when I just before the lockdown happened, I was working towards a powerlifting meet. Now that then obviously got cut off, which is fine. But what that then done is that was just as I say, like a one-off goal, because I just wanted to make sure I complete once and do that. But that's why then, because I'm now not working towards that, I'm like, do I really want to now be doing? So now I've questioned myself. So I'm now getting influenced by myself, because I'm now seeing other people's stuff, as you do on Instagram, the highlights of everyone else, and it's now, I should really probably look towards that. And it's, with the amount of aerobic work that everyone's doing at the moment, it's definitely put aerobic work in my head, and I'm just like, but because it's something that I've never been great at, but I've been okay at, that I want to improve, like yourself. But I guess where you have that nice clear, I want a sub 25K, I want a one-arm pull-up, I think that's your definite, like, that's your goal, and that's it's such an easy direction to work towards. Whereas with myself, I think I just don't have that, and I think for our listeners and stuff is, making sure that they have, like, especially to have an understanding of the direction that they're going to, even if they haven't got a definitive goal yet, but understanding, cool, this is the direction of my training. Now, can I have a goal within that if I take a step back and think about what I'm doing? Like, I know I'm seeing plenty of people from WIT at the moment absolutely smashing their training. You know, saw Sam Lewis got her first bar muscle up, and that was massive. You know, and that was so, you know, so she's been drilling these like gymnastic positions, which is absolutely great. And it's like that's obviously one of her goals that she's getting out of lockdown. And I think being where she hasn't got any distractions from anyone else, obviously she's with her half and stuff, but so she's able to really work on these. And I'm seeing so many people get better handstands. Steve messaged me the other day. His lunges are getting better. He's not collapsing because he's not doing loads of handstand push-ups, which he's really good at. Do you know what I mean? So it just shows he's absolutely smashing it at the moment, and he's getting so much stronger, and he's working on his weaknesses. And I think that kind of ties in nicely to the previous podcast. This time is for addressing your weaknesses and understanding your true why.
Yeah, so, I think that's it. Like just having a focus, knowing why you're doing it in the first place, what you're building towards, and then once you know those two things, you can set something to track your progress. So whether it's like for me, every now and again I'll test my 5K, and if it's faster, I'm like, sweet, I'm on the path, I'm taking steps towards it, and that just reinforces the meaning, and you're able to evaluate whether what you're doing is giving you what you want. So for you and your health stuff, you can see whether it's your Whoop data or just like how you feel on a daily basis. If that is trending upwards, you know that it's working, and you know that they're good. It's a good protocol, and that means on the days when you don't feel like a cold shower, you can say, actually, I know this is helping me, so I know this is actually getting me what I want in the bigger picture sense. Even if I don't want a cold shower right this minute, I'm still going to do it. I think that's the important part for, knowing the deeper reason why you've chosen what you've chosen as your goal.
And I guess also understanding the reason. So if you have a goal, say for instance, with Sam's like bar muscle up, and that's been her goal to not just game the system and get the bar muscle up. However, you know, do a really ugly chicken wing one and like, oh yeah, I've got a bar muscle up, because no, you haven't. You just got on top of a bar. That's like, which it's not really about, like, was not what she did, but it's like that. But that's what, like, a lot of people, I want a bar muscle up. So they do anything they can to get on top of that bar and then say, I now have a bar muscle up. And it's like, no, you don't have a bar muscle up. You've got there. So you've gamed the system. So you've basically got there any way possible. So now can you do another one? No. Well, can you now? Okay, if you get down, can you do that again? I don't know. Then you haven't got a bar muscle up. Yeah. And that's, I think that's so key, because it's, even though you have your direction and you have your goal, to making sure, like when you had your 5K, okay, well, I got faster, but not having that as your marker saying, right, I'm now a faster individual. You know what I mean? You just know that what you're doing is working.
Yeah, I think it's a great example as well of the bar muscle up, where why do you want a bar muscle up? If the reason is you just want to tell people you've got a bar muscle up, then maybe you can just get that ugly chicken wing, like one off, and you've done it and you can claim it. But if the reason is you want to do a bar muscle up so that you can do the CrossFit Open RX in October, then getting that one ugly one isn't the end of the journey. That's like step one for actually getting a consistent muscle up that you can do in a workout. And that means it unlocks another level of scoring in the CrossFit Open leaderboard. And then, it reinforces, right, training's not over, still got to keep working on this.
And, so I think what's something that I need to do now is definitely try and redefine my why on training, and kind of give myself an actual goal to work towards that I can work on now. So it's like, you know, just training, say 3 to 5 times a week or whatever. Is that really a goal? That yes, it is, but you can do anything in those 3 days or 5 days. So I think I now need to create myself a little bit more of a concrete goal and go towards that, rather than just, you know, get in each day. And I think that's definitely something that I found. And I think learning from someone like yourself, you know, giving yourself your goal of your 5K and your one arm pull up, you know, you see your daily things and trying to get that one arm pull up is very inspiring. So
boring. I think it's repetitive, but I think that's the point, is that I know where it's going, so I can stick out some boring stuff, and I'm happy to repeat. And
it just means you enjoy the process more, doesn't it? And it just means the whole journey you understand then the reason behind why you're training. So, and I think it feels obviously like a bit repetitive. Obviously, keep saying the word why and stuff like that, but I think this topic has been covered by so many people because it is so important. There's that book, Start With Why, and everything. It's like, ask yourself why once, twice, 3, 4, 5. But also, once you've asked yourself why, you then got to remember to ask yourself how. Yeah. So you say, cool, okay, why am I doing this? Now, how do I get that? Because that's the thing. It's all well and good understanding your why, but without your how, again, you're in no man's land, which is kind of essentially where some of us are. So, but yeah, I think it's, when it comes to our 3 main categories of health, performance, and aesthetics, I think when we discuss in our next episode about all the different trainings for that, I think is so key. But I think if we pick one of those categories and you've got your training, you've got new nutrition, but you've also got then all the stuff you do outside of the gym to make sure that supports that, I think that's so essential. So kind of creating yourself your daily schedule, like your daily routine of like your morning and evening of what do I need to do outside of the gym that helps me work towards that particular goal. And I think that's a big takeaway that I'd like the listeners to get from this episode is which I'm going to be doing myself, is once you've got yourself a goal, identify how to get there. But then also, cool, what do I need to do outside of the gym in the morning, at night? Do I need to change the person I am? Do I need to become stronger in this? So cool, what can I do? And that's the thing. And again, if you guys need any help or assistance, contact Ash or myself, and we can definitely look to help you with that. But it's been a nice little catch-up episode, just talking about our whys and stuff like that. It's been nice, a little bit different. So
yeah, I like it.
It's good. So guys, if you enjoyed this episode, it'll be really interesting to leave some, get back to us and give us any feedback. If there's anything you want us to cover, it'd be awesome. We've had a few requests, so we're definitely looking to get those in. We're also looking to get a couple of guests on, which we're really looking forward to getting those on. And if you're on iTunes, please leave us a 5-star review. My missus left us a review really nicely, but it comes under my name. I'm like, okay. So I think apparently we've got good chemistry, I think. So that's good. Yeah. But yeah, so guys, thank you for everyone that has left a review so far. We are also on YouTube and Spotify. So please find us there and please share the message. I hope everyone is healthy and doing well, and catch you guys in the next episode.
Cheers, guys.